Bojo, Sam Navarre and Dejnikos, White Beat, Oklahoma, and Dochbia. Miigwech for stopping in and checking out this video. Today we're just going to look at one of these books, and the book that we're going to start out with, because I kind of hyped it on the other video, is Little Black Sambo. If anybody is offended by this book, I apologize. I'm terribly sorry that you're offended. I hope that what offended you are the other cartoons, the drawings in those cartoons, and if you've seen a different copy of this book, and it had different pictures in it than this one does, then I apologize that it was offensive to you. This book has a bad rap. There's nothing wrong with Little Black Sambo. Nothing at all. And as a matter of fact, the reason that this book is banned is because it shares some information about getting through this age. Now, I believe this book was put out around 1916 or 1917. It's by Helen Bannerman. Helen Bannerman, and let's see, Applewood Books put this one out. This edition of Little Black Sambo was originally published in 1921. So in 1921, it's almost 100 years old. This book was banned in the early 1980s from our schools. I was just a little boy. I hadn't been in school very long, and I already had a copy of this book. My mom got me one because my name is Sam, and everyone called me Sambo. And that was just who I was, you know. Whenever you're a little kid, they give you a name, and you don't question it. That's just the name you use to come by, and every time anybody yells it, well, here you come. Well, when they banned this book, I was a little kid, and I was like, what? Why are they banning that? And, of course, they lumped it in with other books like Catcher in the Rye, and I think some other girl where, like, the babysitter has her way with one of the kids she's babysitting, and again, not the same story. I can go to the grocery store with my mom and see all that mom porn in the line there, all those romance books. It was preposterous. And it wasn't until I got into high school in the early 90s that they banned religion from our school. And again, I was like, what are these adults thinking? Don't they know that I can always communicate with God inside? That I can have unspoken prayers and have that relationship with the Creator? I didn't know what they were thinking. Well, they told us we couldn't have religion in school anymore. And so the next thing you know, they herd all the kids out around the flagpole, have them sing some kind of song or whatever they're doing out there. And you don't send the kids out into the front lawn around the flagpole. That's where all the child molesters and the drive-by shooting and all the estranged parents that aren't supposed to be around have all the access to them. And I see what they were doing now. I see exactly what they were doing. But they didn't ban religion from our schools. What they banned was mythology. The Greeks, the people in India, the Hindus, and Hinduism, they banned that sort of philosophy. They never taught us it from like the Viking or the Norse perspective. Just those two big ones, the Greeks and the Hindus. And then, what it also does, and this is why I believe that it'd be fine if they wanted to teach the religious texts in our schools. Because once they do that, then anyone can do a research project on the histories contained in the advancement of these literary works of spirituality or religion or whatever you guys want to call it. But they could do research into it. I went back and I was just trolling my tribe, my fellow tribal members. They weren't focused on anything that has to do with growth or coming together as a community. They were just splitting each other up. And this was about the time of the last presidential election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. They could not stop talking about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And even after the election was over, this again was the main focus of their life. And I honestly think that that's still a big part. We rarely have any discussions about Native issues other than the president, or who could have been the president, who would have made it a lot worse, as what they say. Instead of focusing on the things we can change in our community and our family, because within a tribe, we're all related through blood, language, and a common historical heritage. And so we have these prophecies in in my tribe, and like my older brother's tribes, our family tribes. We call ourselves the Anishinaabe. That's our word for ourselves. However, the society that labels everybody else called us Algonquin. It's one of the biggest like root tribes here in North America. It spreads from the Pacific to the Atlantic. However, once you start learning the language, it becomes apparent that there are no L's in our language. No L, la, 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 no L in our language. So it made no sense that we were calling ourselves Algonquin. So I looked into it a little bit more, and well, Al means the in Arabic. And the advancement of the language that we use here in the Americas now, well, it's mostly English. And then down south, they still speak Latin. They'll tell you it's Spanish, it's Latin. However, Latin comes from Greek. But before any of that, there was just Euskarin there in the Iberian Peninsula, and I think most of Europe and the northern part of Africa spoke this Euskarin. And possibly they spoke Euskarin over here as well, because there is a language called Algonquin Basque. It's hyphenated. However, if Arabic comes up, because if these Euskarin speakers, it appears to me that the people that were called Basque, some people will refer to them as Atlanteans. If these people had this heightened information, and I believe that they kept it oral, I believe they told these stories, I believe that these Basque went all the way down to India and taught the local people in that land, the subcontinent of India. I believe that the Basque were the Aryans that are mentioned in the Mahabharata and the Vedas. I believe that the Rishis learned, and they did it how to, but that they got that information from the Basque Atlanteans. And that's where the Vedas come from. If you guys haven't listened to the Vedas, you should listen to the Vedas. Some good stuff in there. It may seem just easy and pointless to you. Some of the information, when it comes back into English, basically boils down to, like, do good for your parents, mow their yard on Saturday. It's nothing really brain busting. It's got some information about, like, who their deities were. We all have this. We think that people that are involved with Hinduism have multiple gods. That they have some kind of multiple god system over there. And the truth is that it all goes back into the supreme consciousness. The supreme consciousness can absorb any form and come down here. It starts making a lot better sense once you realize that the biggest mess up as far as Hinduism is the way it was presented to us. And so, with that in mind, Little Black Sambo. Little Black Sambo is a story about this little young man. And it says his mother was called Black Mumbo, and his father was called Black Jumbo. Black Mumbo made him a beautiful little red coat and a beautiful little blue trousers. And Black Jumbo went to the bazaar and bought him a beautiful green umbrella and a lovely little pair of purple shoes with crimson soles and crimson linings. And then wasn't Little Black Sambo grand? So he put on all his fine clothes and went out for a walk in the jungle, and by and by he met a tiger. And that tiger said, "Little Black Sambo, I'm going to eat you up." The little Black Sambo said, "Please don't. I'll give you my little red coat." And so the tiger, he said, "All right, okay, I won't eat you, but you have to give me your coat." And so the tiger puts on the coat, and he says, "Now I'm the grandest tiger in the jungle." There he is, wearing a coat. See that tiger? It's tiger. And Little Black Sambo went on, and by he met another tiger, and it said, "Little Black Sambo, I'm going to eat you up." And so to this tiger, Little Black Sambo said, "Please don't eat me up. I'll give you my beautiful little blue trousers." And so he goes through that, and now that tiger's the grandest tiger of them all. See, look, now there he is, wearing little Sambo's blue trousers. Got the red coat, got the blue trousers. It's a different tiger, and so he keeps going, and the next tiger is going to eat him up, and he says, "Please don't. I'll give you my purple shoes." And the tiger's like, "Why would I want your shoes? I've got 4 feet, and you have 2, so I'm going to go on and eat you." And Little Black Sambo says, "Well, you could put them on your ears." And so the tiger's like, "All right, well, all right." And so he takes them, and now he's the grandest tiger in the jungle. Look at him. He's got Little Black Sambo's shoes on his ears. Why would he want those? Anyway, he took them, though, right? He took them. And so Little Black Sambo keeps going, and another tiger's going to eat him all up. He ain't got nothing left except his umbrella. So he gives this tiger his umbrella. And so since the tiger's going to use his feet, little Sambo has to teach him a better way. And so he gives the tiger his umbrella, and now the tiger carries it with his tail above his head. And so poor Little Black Sambo went away crying because the cruel tigers had taken all of his fine clothes. And then he heard a terrible sound like grr, and it got louder, and the tigers there were all coming back to eat him. So he wondered what he should do, so he ran to the palm tree and peeped around to see what was going on. And there he saw all the tigers, and they were kind of showing off to each other about how grand they were, with the little red coat and the blue trousers and the purple shoes on their ears, and the umbrella being held by a tiger's tail, and they're all arguing over who's the best, who's got the most off of Little Sambo, who scored the most off Little Sambo. And so then they start getting violent, and so then they started all fighting in a wad, and Little Sambo, he kind of just got out of the way, and the tigers all latched onto each other's tails and started chasing each other around. And Little Black Sambo jumped up and he said, "Tigers, why have you taken all of your nice clothes off? Don't you want my clothes anymore?" But the tigers only wanted to fight, and so he picks up his clothes. And Little Black Sambo, he says, "If you want them, just tell me, and I'll give them back, I'll leave them here." But they didn't pay any attention to him, so Little Black Sambo put on all of his fine clothes again and walked off. But the tigers, they were really angry, and so they kept fighting at each other and biting each other's tail until they got around this tree. They start going around the tree. So they're going around the tree, making a circle around the tree, and they still ran faster and faster until there was nothing but a great big pool of melted butter, or ghee, around the foot of the tree. Now look at this. See that written word right there? Right there. Oh, it's not going to focus in, is it? I think it's backwards. Anyway, it says right there in parentheses, "as it is called in India." It's not in Africa. There's nothing against African people in this book. Now, Black Jumbo was just coming home from work with a great big brass pot, and when he saw what was left of all the tigers, he said, "Oh, what lovely melted butter. I'll take that home to Black Mumbo for her to cook with." So he put it all into the great big brass pot, took it home, and so Black Mumbo, she said, "Well, now we'll just have to have pancakes for supper." So she got the flour, and she made up a bunch of pancakes, and she fried them with the melted butter, and made of tiger butter, and they were just little yellow and brown, and they all sat around, and Black Mumbo ate 27 pancakes, and Black Jumbo ate 55 pancakes. But Little Black Sambo ate 169 because he was so hungry. The end. Now, if that book has offended you, I am terribly sorry. However, they just were trying to keep you from finding out this information. Little Black Sambo is a story about a guy from India, and his name is Shiva. They call him Shambhu. Shambhu is Shiva. Now, that's what they were banning from us, learning when we were kids. The only reason to ban something is because of fear. And that fear is that you're going to lose your power over everybody else. I don't agree with that. There's only love in this world. And fear stems from the fear of not being loved. And once somebody else is loved, then your fear of never being loved like them grows into hate. And that's where we get in trouble. When we look around, I see a lot of hate. Now, if you look at this stuff, Hinduism as a religion instead of a philosophy, a universal philosophy of how the cycles work, like these tigers running around a tree of life after stripping everything from Little Black Sambo, well, it starts making a lot better sense. You just let the tigers go at each other, and then you have pancakes. Anyway, that's the story of Little Black Sambo, and by Helen Bannerman. Check it out. Don't be afraid to let your kids read this book, Little Black Sambo, especially if you're an African American, because I understand that some people took this book and drew a bunch of racist-looking pictures to go with that story. That's probably why they did it, so that this book wouldn't be available either. See, that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, I'm an embracist. I just embrace everything with it and take it all in good. And if somebody is, bigoted against another type of man, then, well, I'll just make fun of them for it. I'll make fun of them for being prejudiced in that way. And that's kind of the way that I'll make fun of duality. And eventually we can point out all these cool things about insecurity, because we've got to just embrace everybody. We've got to love everybody. We aren't getting anywhere playing the angry game. Anyway, that's over 20 minutes here, so miigwech for watching the video. We'll do another book soon. Let me give you guys a little tune y'all on out. Vamos P.